Thank you all for being here and for supporting this event and us. So, first of all, I'd like to thank the Divine Director for putting this path in front of me, something I actually didn't choose, but have accepted wholeheartedly and found like home and have found sort of my reason of being. So, it started basically thanks to Salman Rushdie. I read a novel, and what was one sentence in that novel that brought me down to South America, and from there just found myself in a whole world of theater and long-term. I actually haven't done a lot of theater, but I was with companies for like Força Bruta, which was kind of like this big Cirque du Soleil type, like aerial theater for 3 years, from the conception of being a guinea pig and all these like machines and trying that out with like David Bowie songs, and to the Teatro de los Andes, which was a project for 4 years, from the design, the investigation, of South America, immigration from South America to the exterior, to the creation of these images, to touring the show in like a dozen countries all around, like 3 continents. So, and then my own show that I wrote, produced, directed, and acted in, which is this image from, which I won the awards for, from 2011 and 2000 to 2013, and which I met Amado, and a lot of you know my husband, who does a lot of music around town. And so we've become a collaborative team. And working with the community has been very important for me. So this is a show that we did in Bolivia with the Teatro de los Andes. And we used like musicians, about 15 people from the community who just wanted to be in this ridiculous production of Dario Fo's The Passion of Christ. And we performed it in a lot of different spaces all around. And this really inspired me to work and to create connections from different walks of life. That's me as Mary, and having to hold Jesus like across the longest space, and like inside I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do this, but it was great. And so this is here in Kansas City, and this is during Amado's time at Charlotte Street, and so we worked with like ancient Mexican dancers, Maura Garcia, which is a Cherokee modern dancer, Philippines, and so like an homage to the elements of the earth. We always use just like a challenge or an intention for a project. So something that we believe in, that we want to spend years of our life doing, because that's the longevity of the project is something that we try to work for, and not like make it like a 3-week boom going from project to project. So it becomes part of like a cultivation of like an energetic garden, we'll say. So this is, so actors training workshops. I think my forte and what I love really is finding like the individual method of creation, and the way that through art one dialogues with their own body. And so I've developed a lot of like actor trainings programs that have to do with anthropological theater, which is kind of the art of the pre-expressive nature. And then like the internal martial arts, which I've done for years, and yoga, which I teach here in town. So in Yotala in Bolivia, a couple places in Bolivia, and a circus in Cochabamba, in Pontigny in France for the Sacred Arts Festival in 2014, and for a theater company in Bogota that was doing, it doesn't matter. And then here in Kansas City, thanks to UMKC and then to the project We Are the Landscape, which we did in 2016, I've got to develop a lot of my ideas with these training programs. And a lot of it has to do with self-care and with awareness, with self-acceptance. And so from that self-acceptance, then you can begin the act of self-transformation and transformation of within art and within community. So that's something that I stand for. More training. So this is a little external martial art, but this is in Bogota in Colombia, and the actors that I worked with. And then coming soon. So we brought a project that we did at UMKC with the second year MFA. They learned the show in Spanish, and we're all going down next week to Bolivia to do a 3-city tour, and then we'll also be in a lot of different communities around these 3 cities, performing, dialoguing about the cosmovision in Bolivia. It's something that they studied, but it's not actually studied a lot in Bolivia. So they see a lot of these like mass characters in a lot of festivals, but you don't really know who they are, what they represent, and how they came to be in the cosmovision. So that's something that we would like to continue that investigation. It's really exciting. Their Spanish is coming along like swimmingly, better than mine. And so we're actually like, we've got to bring our lights down. It's very much like a bohemian, like self-produced circus, cosmovision circus. So we're excited. And then, so we're doing the like the promotion right now, and also doing some workshops down there and some concerts with my husband and one of the students, planning a show for next year using this life-size grandma puppet. She's got quite a character, and so sort of developing and writing for that as well. And then, so goals is just to keep, to find the balance of doing what I'm doing, to bring more ensemble-based theater to underserved communities, to find a way to do ongoing training, presence training for performers based on what I've developed. And then maybe, I know nonprofits, it's something that I've been like, yes, no, it's a lot of work. So that's kind of like on the back burner as a maybe. And then obviously, just to be able to do what I do without being burdened by whether I can afford to do what I do. So in terms of the needs, I haven't done a website ever. My husband has one, and it has a little bit of our world music programs on there. But in terms of like theater, it's something that I need to do. I need to just to organize myself a little bit better, maybe find community partners to do these ensemble-based projects in different communities. And then somebody to go, you know what, you need. So I don't know if you're familiar with Ayurveda. It's like the Indian medicine. I'm very enthusiastic. I've got a lot of ideas, and I can start things really well, but it's more difficult for me to like be grounded and see things through to the end. So sometimes having that, the organizational, like, okay, this no, this yes, that plan really helps me out. And then these are my challenges. Balance, art, life, health, just being. So that's it.
Okay, and now at GUILDit, we start with our Q&A. Does anyone have a question right off the bat? Here, and we'll give you the mic so the video can pick it up.
It's not a fully formed question, but I love what you said about focusing on longevity and cultivating the energetic garden, and then tying that to your goals of calendaring all this and how you're going to do that, right? And it's been so wonderful for our students at UMKC to have a perspective that deals with longevity and keeps them on a certain path and gets them less interested in the product and more interested in the process. And so if there's anything else you'd like to say about things that you confront along the way with that, I can imagine what some of them are. And you probably hit them when you talked about having a business coach, maybe, but I love, I really appreciated that and would like that perspective to be shared more, at a larger level.
Yeah, I think sort of individually or even in a collaboration, the delicious part is like cultivating the soil and doing the investigations and creating the artistic part. But then when you have to turn tables and have to start the self-producing, that's when the internal fight or like, oh, I don't want to do this. I just want to create. So that gets to be like the challenge, and also finding like that artistic way, and I think the collaborative part there with seeing who you realize that it's like not just the artistic world that like so many people who've helped Amado and I in the past come from so many different walks of life, and they're like, oh yeah, well, my cousin just has the whole light system. If you need it, you can borrow it without charging you anything. So it's really also about who you are as a community member, and just making friends, don't burn bridges as well. But yeah, so that's one thing. Also, I think sometimes building the show, having certain parameters, like I would love to do like this huge, big aerial show, but like starting small and knowing like what your energy, you can do energetically. Also, that's at least a big thing that I'm having to learn, of not like just go towards a big the big shebang, but like with the big show that I was in Argentina, it started small. It started as like a couple friends who, one was kicked out of theater school and his mountain climber friend, and they got a couple dancers together and they just scaled down. They got a sponsorship to do like a music production to go around the big obelisk in Buenos Aires. And that was it. That's all they wanted to do. And from that, then later on, they had the funds and were able to build more organically. But yeah, so I don't know if that answered your question. Okay.
Hey, Karen. So I'm curious, how many people here have actually seen some of Karen's work as a director? Anyway. For those of you that haven't seen it, it's absolutely mesmerizing. I've been just thoroughly entranced by the work that I've seen you produce with your actors and musicians. And I'd love to see it shared more broadly with the community. Because it's immensely valuable, and the fact that it's mostly been taking part here in a university setting with the UMKC is terrific. But so I'm going to suggest, I don't know if do you know Heidi Van? Are you?
Through connection, we've actually never had like an artistic conversation together. But
Heidi has just opened a flat space down the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
It's a space that I think is, if you're thinking about doing some training for actors, maybe offering it to local actors who would sign up to do workshops with you, I think it would be a great home for that. And I think you and Heidi, I think, would really get along well in terms of a shared vision of how work maybe is possible and beneficial, and that might lead to a production that you would do that would be presented there. We have these amazing spaces here
Mhm.
And I love the fact that we got more actor-owned and controlled spaces popping up, sprouting up through the landscape. So I would just urge you and Heidi to get together and maybe have a real conversation about goals and see if there's something there that might develop into a long-term partnership.
Yeah, I will definitely reach out to her. Thank you.
Can we flip to your needs slide in question over here?
Karen, you had the photo there with the children. Are you working with children as well? Or
So-
doing performances for them?
Before I went down to South America, I taught theater at Woodland Innocent Classical Academy at the time, and they really inspired me. So that's why they're there. Is that they're probably these kids are probably in their 20s now. So, but with Amado, we've done a lot of the world music programs, and sometimes we've done a lot more interactive, just like at libraries, some theatrical things. That's something that I would also like to develop, and like I'll mix a lot of like mindfulness and yoga with just theater games, and so I haven't really thought about it much, but it's actually, now that you mention it, it's something that's like, oh, why not? So yeah, yeah, absolutely. So yeah, now that you mentioned that, just a little while ago at like the Charlotte Street Black Box on Troost, for instance, and I forgot the name of the woman there, and her group of students there really they were fabulous. Yeah, drama time, yeah. So
Yeah, also there's young audiences, and I'm forgetting the group that works with homeless and children in the West Bottoms, but they've hired quite a few artists in all spectrums, disciplines to work with the children. And I can give you the name later. It
Okay.
escapes me at the moment, but yeah. Question over here?
Yeah, I think one of your needs was a website. You might look into KCAI internships, and specifically maybe a design student, because there's some kind of off-the-shelf website programs, Wix, Squarespace, and they could probably, you've got a lot of content, so really they could knock a website out for you pretty quickly.
okay.
And they have calls, I don't know, a couple of times a year to ask artists for internships. So it's part of their academic program, so there's no cost. So you have to put in so many hours a semester as part of that.
Thank you.
Question?
Yes, this is slightly crass. Sorry to ask this, but for this exciting tour that's coming up in Bolivia, where does the funding come from for that?
It's all self-produced. We made about $200 off of GoFundMe. We have, thanks to the Undergraduate Theater Association at UMKC, they donated the proceeds from a stage reading of A Princess Bride, and then our workshops are actually funded. Our workshops in one of the cities in Bolivia, we've been given a grant by the Bolivian government. So we had to do a call for that through an organization there, which are basic friends of mine from theater back in the day. So yeah.
I'm glad to see the government putting up money for stuff like that.
Yeah.
Hey, Bolivia.
Go Bolivia. Actually, thanks to Bolivia, I was able to, those national awards, they were monetary awards, and Amado and I were able to live here the first couple months, thanks to that prize. So, yeah, go Bolivia.
On the business plan, too, there's Casey SourceLink, and they do actually one-on-one coaching, at least one session, and they can kick you off on a yearly plan and give you some resources of where to go to help develop that plan more in depth.
Okay.
So, and I have some information I'll give to you later on that. Other questions? Right over here.
Can you tell us more about the yearly plan need?
The yearly plan, it starts with what the priorities are. So in terms of the production for Amado and our business of world music and the recycled instruments in the classroom. And so that with I think it starts time management, like on a daily, and then what I notice if I get too far ahead, then everything kind of gets thrown out the window. So start with what my daily, what I can handle on a daily basis and keep to that structure, and then go from weekly to monthly and up to yearly, and then to the 5-year plan. So yeah, but staying in both sides, like concentrically, like in the daily, and then with a vision of what's ahead. So
it sounds really good. I like yearly plans because the process of it pushes you to put everything down on paper and to identify things. At least for me, when I know that something's going to take like months to do, and I want it to happen within a time frame, like within a future year, for example, then I know that if I don't have progress by such and such date, then it's just not going to happen by that year. And so that's what I was interested in asking you, because I know it's really hard, and I know that there's a lot of variables that change things. But I'm really glad it's on your needs list.
Yeah, thank you. It's definitely important.
Okay. Other questions? Can you? Great. And can you flip to your goals?
So, as kind of a follow-up to Heather's question and your answer, how is your time being spent now in terms of where's most of your earned revenue coming from? And, some reason when you try to figure out priorities, it's helpful sometimes to figure out how you can put more time into things that are going to sustain your work.
Yeah, right now a lot of like that steady income thanks to Maya Yoga. So my hours are pretty wonderful, but I'd like in terms of being able to build as much as I can, because like responsibilities there are actually growing, and that's kind of like takes a lot of mental space as well. So as much as I can, just using yoga like for my own personal practice. And then, so there's that, and then on the other hand, the business with Amado, and that's, helping him produce, and so those are our two sources of income.
And then where do you want to grow into?
Grow into more of using like theater, like the being able to create more, or to create these physical training programs, these presence training programs, and then to use that as the teacher energy, more so than just yoga. So yoga becomes a part. So it becomes a juggle of the business of my husband and I with the continual, the consistent theatrical output, and then the training program. So those are the three. And for myself at night, I always do my Tai Chi. So that's something I want to stay also.
Knowing both of you, Amado is so prolific and there's such a demand for him as a musician. But it feels like managing that part of your shared careers is something that might be outsourced. You should find someone else who could help manage that and help him grow that side of the business, which would free up the time you're now spending managing to do more of the artistic work. So this, is that something that, of what you're doing now, I think that's the one candidate for something that could be delegated to someone else.
I love that. Yeah. Sort of as like that wife response, like, but yes, music business intern.
No, really, and so maybe there's some way Folk Alliance International. So I don't know if they have an internship opportunities or whatever. So you might talk to the staff there about how that works.
Yeah.
And they could probably refer to. And also, have you looked into doing residencies for yourself and kind of give yourself a retreat?
Amado has one in Turkey coming up that I wrote the grant for, so I get to go. And so I'll be doing a lot of writing there. And I'm a part of Charlotte Street residency right now.
Right.
But it's been, there's been a lot going on in the times I had for this space where I haven't been able to take advantage of it as much as I'd like to this year. But I think that's a great idea of being able to.
Yeah, because Charlotte Street is really good for connections here. And then, of course, they have such a great learning curve that comes in the program, built into the program. But also, you work on such an international level, and doing, I think, international residencies can even propel that more and make some great connections for you internationally. So, other questions? Did you want to talk about this character a little bit more?
Oh, so one of the reasons I actually applied to be in the Charlotte Street was to do a project based on Leonora Carrington. Carrington. I don't need to give her a Spanish accent. And she is a contemporary of Frida Kahlo, actually. So she actually came out of two different things. So she's designed as an indigenous woman. One of the things that we're going to do also is do a lot of storytelling with live music for libraries.
Okay.
But at the same time, using puppetry to tell like this, one of the stories called The Hearing Trumpet. I don't know if you've ever read it, by this artist. And she was just an amazing individual.
Okay.
And it's very, it's like the occult.
Terrific. So we have networking available afterwards. So I encourage you to stick around and network with Karen, and as well as Stephanie coming up. And thank you very much, Karen.
Thank you.